What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 2017 career mode, episode number 33 today for the Italian Grand Prix. If you did miss the last episode at the Belgian Grand Prix, it was a fantastic race for us, really great result, and a really fun race as well. And some of you guys saying probably even one of the best races of the career mode so far, which is, I would have to agree, there were some tasty moves in there. So if you did miss it, be sure to go check that one out, because there were a few little issues, it looked like, with the sub boxes yesterday on YouTube. So if you did miss it, be sure to go get caught up before you get to this one. But as per usual, doing the engine management, and of course after the last episode we're just kind of waiting for that major hit of the engine upgrade, which will be coming at the Japanese Grand Prix, I believe it was. So now we kind of focus on just trying to build up more resource points to get the next upgrade we're going to get, which is potentially going to be either a chassis or aerodynamic purchase, I feel, because now that major engine upgrade is going to be a big chunk. So I think logically now is the time to focus on getting points for the rest of the car. Obviously we haven't actually upgraded anything on the car, on the chassis and aerodynamics so far this season. It's all been from what the AI did to the Renault team in Season 1 whilst we were at Toro Rosso. But speaking of Toro Rosso, obviously it was a great race for us here at the Italian Grand Prix in Season 1. I believe we ran 4 wings back then, and with a lot of rich mix, that Toro Rosso powered by the Renault engine worked really well. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think we should be able to go pretty damn well here, and I think I may go even more aggressive with 3 wings, although there is some forecast for some rain in qualifying, so that may be something to look at. But going through practice, it was all fine and dandy, apart from this one little clip here, which I found quite funny, as the car kind of jumped up there as we hit the sleeping policeman. So I thought I'd include that clip. But we go ahead towards qualifying, and also just before we go on, and before anyone kind of comments below about it, yes, there are some weird shadow patches that you may see around the circuit whilst I'm driving around on my onboard and maybe some of the replay cameras. That is a graphical glitch that I don't know why it's still there. I'm kind of frustrated they haven't maybe patched it yet. I believe I had the same glitch back in Season 1 at the Brazilian Grand Prix, episode number, what would it be, 19, I think that was. I think we had a similar sort of glitch there. There's just some random shadows basically around the circuit. You can see here on the cutscene for some reason to turn 1, just some very odd shadows. So, I mean, try your best to ignore it, but it does kind of make the track look a little bit odd. It kind of also did put me off in a few senses, because as we go towards qualifying, you can see it was actually heavy rain for Q1 at least, and so much like the real life Italian Grand Prix, maybe a chance for some people to make some names for themselves in this qualifying session. But you can see going through just some weird, just dark patches, which kind of obstructs the track view a little bit. So that did actually make things a little bit more difficult, I'm not going to lie. Actually, it did kind of put me off in a few corners. But you can see there, I actually aborted my first flying lap in Q1 because it was actually time to go into inters. So as I was going out on my full wet run, I could see some AI cars on the intermediate tyres. So I came in, strapped on the set of inters. You can see going through the final corner across the line. Thankfully, we do make it through into Q2, just about. Like, Hulkenberg made it a comfortable Q2. We made it just by the skin of our teeth there. So if we had kind of stayed out mistakenly on the wet tyres, that would have been probably game over for us. So very thankful and kind of blessed that we just about made it through there. And now we can try and do the real stuff in Q2 and get hopefully into that top 10 shootout. But you can see there in Sector 1, those shadows, very odd. And then into Parabolica also, just a little bit off-putting into the brake zone. So that was a little bit odd. But anyway, we'll look past it and we'll just continue on with the racing. So you can see as we come across the line for our second flying lap on the intermediate tyres, I did actually run out of fuel on that second run. You would have seen the engine start to slow down. I was in lean mixture through Parabolica. So for the second time this episode, counting myself lucky just getting through to the next session there. Unlucky for Nico to not get through as well. But so now we go into the top 10 shootout and see what we're doing. This time I did fuel up, thankfully. So I fueled up about, I think, 4.2 worth laps of fuel. Obviously on the maximum fuel setting that you get in qualifying, the fuel just literally, the car's just drinking it like nobody's business through the corners, down the straight. So on that Q2 run, it just didn't calculate it properly how many laps I would actually need maybe to get into Q3. And then in Q3 though, I kind of, I learned from my mistake basically. And you can see now we go on for a second flying lap, literally straight away after our first flying lap, because the intermediates obviously don't wear out too much. I've got enough fuel there. We've done it before in the past a couple of times when it's been a wet qualifying session. The best kind of strategy in my opinion sometimes is get a feeler in the first lap, and then you can really gain some more time in that second lap. You can see we do come up to some cars here, so that puts me off a tiny bit, but all fine through Ascari. We do have a car, I think that was behind us initially on that opening lap, and then we're trying to chase down this car through Parabolica at the moment, only in P10. You can see we are gaining a bit of time on our Delta, but I don't know if it's going to be enough actually. It's been a bit of a poor, slow lap here in general, and we come across the line, and I think it's not going to be an improvement there yet. No improvements. We do actually sizably improve our time, but it's not going to be enough to pip Esteban Ocon at least, and nowhere near Massa or Perez there, unfortunately. So we're not anywhere near best of the rest as we have usually been in the last few episodes. So P10, still not that bad, but actually in hindsight now, if it's a dry race, actually if it's a dry race it won't matter because obviously everyone has a free tyre choice. So I was about to say maybe Nico qualifying in P11 was good, but obviously I forgot actually. If it's a dry race, we've all qualified on wet, so we can choose whatever tyre we want. So actually P10 may not be too bad of a position. Actually, we can do some work here with those lower wings. Remember, I did go, I think, 3-3 or 4-4, so that would have compromised my qualifying, but I've set it up for the race. So that's my thinking there. So let's get into this, and hopefully we can have a good Italian Grand Prix just like we had in Season 1.
As the drivers complete their preparations, down below us on the grid, one man who's no stranger to the pre-race pressure is Anthony Davidson, who joins me in the commentary box today. Great to have you with us, Ant. I'm sure you can tell us all about what goes through a driver's head before lights out.
Well, from the moment qualifying's over, you start to feel the adrenaline in your body build up and the buzz in your stomach as you anticipate the run down into turn 1. It's all a bit like going into battle, and the unknown situation makes you nervous. Those pre-race nerves are a good thing. The day you don't have them means that you don't care anymore. And of course, you have to make sure that all the procedures are second nature to you so that they're not taking up too much of your capacity.
Well then, after an exciting qualifying session yesterday, let's take a look at how the cars line up. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Raikkonen, Vettel, Daniel Ricciardo, and Verstappen, Perez, Massa, Ocon, and Renault, Hülkenberg, Sainz, Daniel Kvyat, and Grosjean, Stroll, Alonso, Kevin Magnussen, and Stoffel van Dorn, Ericsson, and Pascal Wehrlein completes the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Right, so it's a little bit overcast here for the start of this race, but it is going to be dry the entire race indeed as well. You can see, so the strategy is going to be the one stop, super soft to the medium tyres. I'm going to flip that around. We're also going to fuel up more, just like Season 1. You know, we realised, I think it was at this race last season, we realised how good the Renault engine can actually be, and pretty decent if you just have it in rich mix for most of the time down this straight. So we're going to fuel up plenty here, and obviously we can lift and coast a tad, and that definitely did work for us quite well in the Toro Rosso, so that's also the option as well. But in terms of the one stop, we're going to flip this around a little bit. The default is super soft to medium. I want to start on the medium tyre and be a little bit faster right at the end there. We're going to be on lower fuel on the super softs towards the end of the race. I think that could help us depending on where we are. I mean, just at this stage before the race, you just never know where you're going to be on track compared to other cars. So we do need to overtake. I think that'll be useful, and obviously we can kind of hamper other people's races if we get ahead of them on these medium tyres. So let's get going to 5 red lights for the Italian Grand Prix, round number 13 for Season 2 here. The lights are out and we're underway, and it's a really, really poor start for us on these medium tyres as Hülkenberg shoots off like a bullet there from behind us. We're also being swamped by the two Toro Rossos left and the right of us. Kvyat there and Sainz down my right. We both dive to the inside. Sainz with an absolute dive bomb and a half to go down the inside of 4 cars there, trying to feed it around the outside of turn 2 on Massa. Gets a little tyre in the gravel, whereas ourselves, we're going side by side with Esteban Ocon. We just get ahead of him and our teammate again, so you can see the difference in grip between the mediums to the super softs at the start here, and it looks like myself and Sainz are the only 2 cars in this little midfield scrap on medium tyres, just like we did in Season 1. So although we're former teammates, we're still thinking quite alike there and very similar strategies. But so far we overtake Sainz then into that second chicane thankfully, and we can try and do some work now with the clean air ahead of us to try and chase down Sergio Perez. But that was nearly an amazing start for Sainz. He dived down the inside of 4 of us and nearly made it work around the outside to turn 2. But anyway, speaking of Sergio Perez there, on towards lap 2, you can see up ahead of us, he's pulled to the inside to make a move on Felipe Massa. I think that is into turn 1. No DRS yet, so that'll be pure slipstream. You can see we're in lean mixture because we'll close up to them in the brake zone, so perfect time to save some fuel. As you can see, Perez goes wide indeed as he gets shoved off the road a tad. Well, I think that's Max Verstappen's Red Bull, but you can see we've got a great exit on Massa. He's really lost out on that traction zone there because I think he made the corner so much tighter for himself in turn 2, so we just got away even in lean mixture on the exit of that corner. You can see back into lean, so you're going to see that quite a lot maybe, that I'm mixing up the fuel mixtures constantly throughout this entire race, because although we have fueled up for a lot of extra fuel, that still will all burn away because we're on throttle for so long through this lap. Meanwhile, we're chasing after these 3. They go 3 wide there, the 2 Red Bull cars momentarily with Perez. Perez trying to maybe get both of them there in one straight down the inside of Parabolica, and Verstappen trying to hang it around the outside. He does so successfully so far, and that allows Ricciardo to get away, and Verstappen putting up a fight and a half, but it's actually no use. Perez has got him as we move on now. DRS activated on on to lap 3, and we're in the slipstream. Rich mix on Verstappen, so here we go as Perez makes a move on Ricciardo. I make a move on Verstappen. We're trying to do a bit of symmetry here, down the inside into turn 1, on the outside to turn 2. Verstappen really pinching me quite a bit there to the right hand side. The hand of anger went up in the cockpit, but we've got it. And meanwhile, straight away down that same straight is the two Mercedes cars going side by side there for P3 and P4. Meanwhile, the two Ferraris, I think, are 1-2 at their home Grand Prix. But there goes Bottas down the inside of Hamilton, slows up Hamilton so much so that, look at that, Ricciardo on the back of the Mercedes car, and Ricciardo's gone for it. Ricciardo's gone for the move down the inside of Hamilton. Fantastic stuff. Ricciardo has overtaken Hamilton, and now Perez is on the back of Lewis Hamilton. This is absolutely awesome stuff. So as we go towards Ascari, will Perez be making a move on Hamilton that may open us up to maybe make a potential overtake, as one of them will have to concede the position into Ascari. There goes Perez down the inside. He's gone for it. Very bold move, and they go side by side, and Hamilton does shove him off a little bit, and just like I mentioned, Perez does get caught out now, and he's lost a lot of momentum now down this back straight towards Parabolka. We're up into Rich Mix now. Get in the toe, pull out to the right hand side. We'll try and go to the inside of Parabolka. We should have this under braking. It's going to be close. Yellow flags. Oh, there's a Red Bull out. Oh, that was Ricciardo. Ricciardo's off at Parabolka, and we've got actually an illegal overtake, as the yellow flags unfortunately came out just at the wrong bloody time for us. They came out just as we tried to overtake Perez, so I have to concede that position, and because of that I had to lift off, and Hulkenberg now is side by side with me, so I didn't want to be neck and neck with my teammate, but it's happened that way due to the unfortunate timing of the yellow flags, and Hulkenberg nips it down the inside of Perez. This is absolutely awesome. The AI are really going for it. They're being very aggressive this race. Absolutely great to watch. And so Hulkenberg overtakes me fair and square, and he tried to have a little nip at Perez, and behind us was having some scrapping, but we can see a replay now. This was Ricciardo going for a move on Bottas whilst I was trying to overtake Perez, and Ricciardo just for some reason locks up, and then oh wow, that's really dangerous. He's parked it up right in the exit there. That was very dangerous. I'm surprised there wasn't a safety car or a virtual safety car for that. That was a very bad place to park it up there. So seemingly Ricciardo having some sort of brake issue as he overtook Bottas, and because of that we've been compromised, because now instead of chasing down Hulkenberg and Perez, they've actually got away from me on their super soft tyres on lap 7 here, and now Verstappen is the one having to chase me down. He dived down the inside here. I'm trying my best to defend. We'll have the inside for the next corner, but he's going to have enough room, and you're going to see the traction he's got compared to me on the super soft V medium. So just like we had at 5 red lights, those super softs are just so good on the initial biting of the track, and so he gets the power down. We're in Rich Mix to try and defend, and we're going to do our best into the second chicane. He's going to try and feed it around the outside. We're going to go as deep as we can, but he's still there, and Verstappen actually really barges past with the elbows on the left hand side there. As we go into the next section, Verstappen's going to have the inside line, and I just don't have the downforce and grip at this stage of the race to hang it around the outside and keep it there and fight him on, so we have to concede that position for now. But let's be a little bit patient. We're on the medium tyres, as I mentioned. You know, if we can stay ahead, then we're just holding everyone up. And actually you can see onto the next lap, lap 8, we get a bit lucky because we've now got a safety car, because Kimi Raikkonen is out of this Grand Prix, and I think on the mini map here he's actually up here on the right hand side. So our engineer asked us for a change of strategy. You can see there is Raikkonen parked up there. I believe he may have been even leading the Grand Prix, so really unfortunate for him and the Tifosi, obviously, around Monza. But, yeah, for us, the engineer did ask us to change strategy. I declined that because I think the one-stop's still the way to go. Potentially, if these guys are doing the two-stop, that's definitely the way to go, because we bunch up now for the safety car restart behind Verstappen. Hopefully, we can try and get a jump on him. You can see Vettel leads the way from the two Mercedes cars, then Perez, Hulkenberg, Verstappen, myself, and then Esteban Ocon. You can see we're trying to go around the outside here as the flag goes green now, and we drop the power down, and we can try and overtake just then. Perfect timing for us. The green flag just activated as I overtook Verstappen, so literally perfect timing for us. We now try and make a move on Hulkenberg on the left-hand side. We've got the speed. Rich Mix there, caught him napping a little bit, and now we're up into P5 and potentially P4s. We now send it down the inside of Perez, maybe. We go a little bit slower on the second phase of that, because I tried to maybe make the switchback work. Didn't work out for me. I actually lose a bit of traction there as the tyre temp's a little bit cold, obviously, as we're going a lot slower under the safety car. So we tried to make a triple overtake, basically 3 overtakes in one little half lap there, but didn't work out. But now to the second chicane, we now dive down the inside, gone so deep, and we've made it work. So there you go, 3 overtakes in the span of nearly almost, I think that's half a lap there. So really great restart for us on the safety car, although now you can see Perez still hanging on the back of me, so he may be able to maybe re-overtake me as we go towards Ascari. No DRS yet, of course, because it needs to take 2 laps now to reactivate after the safety car, but we're in rich mix. I'm weaving about a little bit to try and break the toe from Perez. As we go down to Ascari, you can see we have successfully broken the toe for now. We'll have to see. Through Ascari, a little bit slow and wide on the entry to that corner, so Perez does close up even more, and now on the exit, he may have a good enough run, so we're going to have to go a little bit defensive to Parabolica, and we'll go to the inside, and we're going to shove him off to the outside if he's going to make a move, but it doesn't look like he is, actually, surprisingly. He doesn't have the straight line speed so far, so maybe, I don't know, maybe he's got it in lean mix, maybe he's saving some fuel. I did have it in rich and standard there down that straight, and actually he's going to peel off into the pit, so I probably definitely think he was on lean mixture. And we carry on. We're up into P3 now. You can see Hulkenberg also pit. So this is where now I just do my thing. I drive to my delta time. I just do my own race, as all these guys now on super soft tyres, apart from the 2 Mercedes cars, I think, who are on mediums. The rest of them will all be pitting for their earlier pit stop. So we're now on to lap 18 now. We're up into P2, and now we're going to say box this lap. So we've overtaken one other car. Bottas, the only other runner in this race that stayed out with me effectively. Magnussen also staying out. He's obviously gained some time. Bottas, there you can see on the top left, up onto the super soft tyres, and we're going to do exactly that and now go to the end of the race. Now, potentially, we will get a little bit, we will get kind of punished a little bit from the undercut of the AI cars, but obviously we'll be on the faster tyre now, lower fuel, so this is the time now to go, as Hamilton's engineer would say, hammer time really, and just go as fast as we can now on lower fuel. We've got some fuel to burn, I believe. I think we've saved enough fuel to still use rich mix quite a few times down the straight, so looking forward to this. This should be quite fun to chase after these cars, and you can see one of them does appear to be Sergio Perez. I think that is off in the distance, and then Sebastian Vettel also overtakes us. We haven't seen much of Vettel in this Grand Prix. He has been leading most of this race, but now I believe because Mercedes started on the medium tyres, I think they've taken advantage here, and just like the real life Grand Prix, may be set to embarrass Ferrari a little bit at their home stadium, as Vettel is now only chasing after P5 at this moment in time on Sergio Perez. So he goes to the right. We've got DRS as well off Vettel, so he could get a bit of a tow, actually, a long-range tow off Perez, and maybe we can catch him as he'll be focusing on Vettel. So here we go. We're in lean mix. We're going to lift in coast to tan and just roll the car into turn 1. Perez is locked up there. We're going to slow down. We're going to switch back, move on him. We're going to straight up the car so much faster than him. Super soft tyres against his medium tyres works an absolute treat there, and bish bash bosh, that is what I was talking about there. Super soft for the mediums at the end, lower fuel, that is what we want. The amount of grip I got compared to him was ridiculous, and now we've got yellow flags on lap 20, and it's Hulkenberg out of this race, it looks like. I thought it was maybe going to be another free position for us, but no, it's not. It's Hulkenberg. We lap him there, so I am the only sole Renault flying the flag then to try and get points against Red Bull Racing. Obviously, Ricciardo now, I believe he's out of the points at this stage because he lost so much time. Verstappen, I have no idea where he is actually in this moment in time. He was ahead of us initially before the safety car, then we overtook him again, but I don't actually know where he is. I believe he may actually be ahead of both me and Vettel, so I need to maybe hope that Vettel holds Verstappen up. And speaking of that battle, that's exactly what happens in the end in terms of Vettel going to overtake Verstappen down the inside of Parabolica here. I need them to fight a little bit more, but it doesn't look like it's likely because Vettel on the soft tyres, I think that is, and Verstappen on the medium, so that's very frustrating because we've basically lost out in the pit stop phases because of the clean air Verstappen's got. I couldn't hold him up when he's got clean air, so I just couldn't stay ahead of him in the strategy terms. And you can see there we are trying to chase after. You can see we're just about in the same camera shot, so we're not too far off, but we don't have many laps left, only 3, including the one we're on right now, lap 25. So unfortunately, as much as I'd want to, I just don't think this is going to be a case of us catching Verstappen. Even though we're on two softer compounded tyres, the Renault car just doesn't have that much pace against the Red Bull team. And you can see Lewis Hamilton does indeed win the Grand Prix from, I think it was Valtteri Bottas to Sebastian Vettel. So I think that has matched the real-life Grand Prix result there for the podium, and quite like real life, Ferrari have been kind of got their pants pulled down there because it was a 1-2 for Ferrari for that first half of the race. Then Raikkonen went out. Vettel wasn't on the medium tyres. He went for a very different strategy on softs, and the Mercedes cars start on medium. So unfortunate for them in the championship as well, because I believe that does mean that does in favour of Mercedes, because I think Mercedes were leading the constructors before this race. That's going to only strengthen their position. But for us, that's also not going to help us too too much because obviously Verstappen will outscore us. Not by too much, so just like I mentioned the last episode, I think, as well, you know, the fact that we're still quite close to the Red Bull cars every single race means that the gap isn't increasing exponentially in the constructors, so it means that, you know, later down the line, if something happens, we could capitalize on the Red Bulls making mistakes. If they go out the Grand Prix with reliability issues or whatever, you know, that's what we're going for. But you can see there, Toro Rosso now overtake Force India. So just like we saw in Season 1, Force India and Williams falling off the horse a little bit, falling off the saddle, with Toro Rosso and Haas getting a bit of steroids in the second half of this season. So Toro Rosso climbs up there, our former team there, to be behind Haas. You can see now, after that race, we do have enough resource points, and having a look at the chassis side of things, actually take a look at the description of this chassis upgrade. Now, the chassis upgrade is going to reduce the weight, and so that's going to help us in a straight line, also through the corners. So I felt like that's going to be the best place for us to purchase the next upgrade, so I went for that. So that's going to come in 2 weeks' time, so that will come for the Malaysian Grand Prix, I believe, and then we have that engine upgrade, the Japanese Grand Prix. So it's going to be a really great period between Malaysia and Japan to get those 2 upgrades, and so I'm looking good. We've got 2 upgrades now on the go, whereas before, there were so many episodes where we had nothing on the go, and it was, I'm not going to lie, a little bit frustrating for me in the background, outside of recording these videos, just watching us not really progress too much in terms of the car. You can see we're a flat line at the moment on that graph, but soon enough, that will really jump up. So looking forward to that one. But guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're around here, then do get subscribed for weekly Formula 1 content. I've been aarava. Hope you enjoy the rest of your days, guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.